Yo, let's just hit record and conversate. This is Q&A with Dro and KK.
This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, I just hit record.
Oh, okay, awesome. Hi, my name is Isidro.
And I'm KK.
And this is Q&A with Dro and K, or KK.
Episode 2, we did it.
Episode 2.
1 in the can, and now we're going for 2.
Right, so if you missed the first episode, go back and watch that. It was really good. Today, we want to talk about something that is specifically important during this time that we're living in, this COVID-19 world. The economy is having a hard time. We want to talk about how is data transforming sales enablement and making the case for sales enablement. So within that, there's 3 specific areas that we want to cover on our conversation today. Number 1, how has sales enablement evolved over time? Number 2, how does data lead to learning? And number 3, how does data improve the speed of learning? So we're going to talk about that today. Kristen, you'd love to maybe start us off and start with the evolution of sales enablement.
Yeah, sure. And unfortunately, one of the reasons that Isidro and I wanted to talk about this today is because we have, some of our customers who are obviously sales enablement leaders, who are currently worried about their job and worried
They're
about
fighting for their job, right?
They're fighting for their job and they're worried about their livelihood within the business because sales enablement is misunderstood in so many different businesses. And I think a lot of organizations think of it as just a sales training role, right? And it's so much more than that. And a true sales enablement function is about delivering the right enablement to the right field member at the right time, in an effort to really enhance their customer interactions, right? It is designed to bolster that salesperson up so that they can just rock and roll and have fantastic value-added conversations with their customers. And to do that, you've got to have data. Like, data-driven sales enablement is the absolute way to go, because when you know what they need, the sales team needs, and the sales managers need, and the leaders now need, you're able to fix it. You're able to make it happen, right?
That's right. That's right. And I think one of the things that we're seeing, though, is that different people in sales enablement just have a different lens as well. I mean, sales enablement doesn't have one defined meaning. It's a little bit nebulous, where some sales enablement leaders that we talk to and work with are extremely strategic. They totally get it. They understand the value of how data can help drive enablement, create more of a business case for the role and the validity of their role and the impact that the role can have in growth. Because the truth is that an organization can have the very best product in the world or the very best solution in the world, right? But without salespeople, people are going to be cutting their way to try to find their way to that product or solution. And sales enablement's job is to help those salespeople have the very best messaging at the right time to get those people to buy. But what do we know about sales?
Well, I was going to say, Isidro, I know you have heard me say this so many times on our customer calls, and I just think it's fascinating. So there are 4,000 colleges and universities in North America alone, right? And less than 100 of them have sales programs, less than 100. Yet 50% of all college graduates go into sales, 50%, okay? So here's the deal. If you're not an engineer, a doctor, a lawyer, pre-med, like, if you don't have this defined path and when you're in university or in college, then 50% of you are going to go into sales because you can make a lot of money in sales, right? It's a lucrative career, but they don't know what they don't know, right? They learn sales based on the peers at their first entry-level job, whether they were good or bad. They learn sales from their manager, whether they were good or bad, or teaching them the right things or not. So everyone has a mixed bag. And when we look at the data and we look at the 2 million people that we have assessed all around the world, 74% of them are average to weak. So let me just go back. So 50% of college graduates are going into sales. 74% of them are average to weak. Okay, so the odds that your company has some average to weak performers is 100%, right? You're gonna have some of those. And that's why sales enablement needs data. And that's why sales enablement needs to exist, because you take that data and then you can get right into their minds and radio dial and fine tune exactly what they need to be successful.
That's right. And I think a lot of what we find is a lot of sales enablement people are focusing too much time on trying to get their C players at the back of that very tail of the curve to be B players. But instead, where they should be focusing their time is, how do I get my middle of the bell curve, my B players, the herd, to be more like my A players? What are the things that my A players are doing that my B players aren't doing? Some of that stuff can be seen. We've been using CRM tools like Salesforce.com for a while, and we have the ability to see, okay, well, this person makes this many more calls than you, schedules this many more meetings than you. Their average opportunity is this. Their product mix is X. But what does data really help them do? What this additional data? And unfortunately, a lot of sales enablement people for a long time have been reporting to different people. So when they're reporting to HR or to learning and development, HR might care for something different. Learning and development might care for something different. Learning and development tends to do more of a survey approach to, what do you want to get trained on this year? Well, our salespeople tell us that they want to get trained on negotiations training because they're discounting too much. Well, maybe they're discounting not because they need negotiations training. Well, maybe they do, but it actually might be because they're not researching enough, creating enough value early in the sales process. But unless you look at the data to understand it, you will never know it.
Right, it's so true. And when we think about our technology customers, especially, a lot of them, their goals and their kind of their approach, I guess, is to just hire people who have smashed their quotas in their past companies, right? They want to hire the best. They want to hire people who have been successful selling, but they're not considering the fact that, it's a different product, or maybe it's a platform or a SaaS-based service that you're selling. It's totally different, right? Or your line of business leader is different than your typical buyer, and it's not a CTO, and you're now selling to a chief revenue officer, right? It's a different approach. And so, data and being able to, assess your sales teams and give your sales enablement leaders this, incredible rich amount of data, like an MRI, right? An MRI of your sales team will allow them to be the doctors to go in and say, this is precisely where you need some fine tuning, where you need to be tweaked, right? Yeah. What's your favorite saying, Isidro, that we learned from our, I don't want to say it out loud, but from one of our customers? She called it
Rebecca. That we're going to tag Rebecca on this.
Rebecca,
so
hope you're doing well.
Hope you're doing well. We'll tag you in this, Rebecca. So one of the things that we were talking to a customer in this, and some of you all might have seen this movie, but looking at salespeople for the specific qualities, right? If you're doing a behavioral or a personality type adapted sales analysis, you're looking for the characteristics. I'm looking for a charismatic, outgoing individual who is going to not be afraid to be talkative with customers, right? You're looking for that person. Well, in baseball, guess what? Baseball teams were looking for the person that had the right build, that looked good behind the plate, those sluggers that they were looking at. But specifically, the Oakland A's went and looked at that data, and they found out that actually, if we just have people that get on base, we actually have a much higher likelihood of winning the baseball game than going and trying to hire all the most expensive home run sluggers that are out there, because guess what? Home run hitters strike out a lot more often than most players. And in the same way, you might be looking for your sellers in very much the wrong way. These insights are Moneyball for sales.
Totally. Yes, Brad Pitt, baby. Love that movie. Yes, Moneyball for sales. And so,
Moneyball for sales.
well, and that's Moneyball for sales enablement, right? I mean, it's data is absolutely critical. And you know, I don't want these Q&A sessions to be at all about pitching any products or services, but if you are a sales enablement leader and you're listening to this and you're struggling to help define your business case for the value that you bring to the role, let us know. We can do, there are some things we can do that don't cost any money, right? Where
Absolutely.
we can look at and identify the special sauce, if you will, of what makes your top performers amazing. And we would be happy to do that for you guys, right? You know, we work with sales enablement leaders every single day, and it's really heartbreaking to see some of them being furloughed and laid off because of the recession. So let us help you build the business case for your existence, right, in your business.
Yeah, absolutely. Because, you know, the truth is that one of our customers said this the other day is that data leads to learning, right? If you have data, if you actually do assessments and analysis, it leads to learning. When people know where they stand, they know what the gap is to their growth. And when we do the sales analysis, the amazing thing about the sales analysis is that we get to see at the organizational level, what are the strengths and weaknesses, right? So that you can prioritize your organizational initiatives. Like our number one initiative organizational wide is this, right? For large organizations, it also allows them to see at the geo level, right? So in the US or in the Americas, this is what our main weaknesses are. We can do some specific things in the Americas for this. In EMEA, we can focus on this. In APAC, in China, in Japan, right? We focus on these different areas. And then at the team level or at the individual level, it allows you to individualize the learning experience for the learner specifically, right? Why is it that Chipotle became so popular? It's because they started providing people with options. Millennials like options. They don't want a shotgun approach or a peanut butter spread approach. And unfortunately, too many organizations say because of budget, we don't have the budget to do anything else. So everyone just gets the same training all the time. And then people get tired of the same old stuff because it's like, well, this doesn't pertain to where I'm at in the sales process or what my needs are.
Right, right. It's spot on, absolutely spot on. Yeah, and and when you are living in a world where the buyer is so much more educated, where your company probably has a gazillion products to offer, right? There's a million things that you need to know, whether you're in a pharma type role or a technology role or, you know, an engineering services role, whatever you're in, you know, there's so much to know about the evolution of your products. And you know, when you have this data at a personal level, it increases your speed of learning. Because instead of trying to guess or wonder what I need to do to be better, it's right there for you. Right?
Right.
And so that also helps sales enablement leaders, right? So we love our sales enablement customers and
Absolutely.
And if any of you are looking for a new role or a new position, reach out to us. We have a huge network of people. We would love to help you find a new spot. And you know, we always want to be there to support you guys. And please do reach out if you want us to help with some no cost, you know, evaluations or whatnot. We can absolutely do that.
Right. And the bottom line is, guys, that like we're living in a world where I'm wearing a Garmin watch, I'm training for a triathlon. My coach sends me my workouts every single day. He gets to see where's my heart rate, how am I doing, right? If we can track my data and my analytics based on every single one of my workouts to make sure that I'm improving, that I'm getting to my threshold. If my toothbrush can tell my dentist how many times a day that I'm brushing, where I'm applying pressure on my teeth, and that's real. Yeah, you can have a smart toothbrush that if they can have specific computers on an engine of a plane that tell you ahead of time where you can start seeing where the plane engine might be breaking down so that you don't have to be flying through the air and have an engine go out and crash. You now can see, okay, there's some specific things going on which are leading to this problem. We can fix them proactively. We want to help you be proactive, right? We see, unfortunately, too many organizations being reactive, waiting till little problems or little things that are causing signs. You might be missing the signs. But
Right.
these little signs become big fires. And then once it's a big fire, then it becomes a problem. And the thing is that sometimes we're having conversations with people and they're just not at a place where they have a big fire and they think that they need a big fire to put out, and they don't need water. It's like, look at this coronavirus thing, right? Well, we don't need all this information or these protocols for specific things. Well, now guess what? Now, in order to get back to business, you need to have these protocols in place. And that's what we're trying to help you do. Try to have a proactive strategy to, first of all, making a case for your role and the value that your role brings to the organization, but secondly, helping you to be successful and helping your organization to be successful in a strategic way through data-driven sales enablement.
Right. And we've got 91% predictively valid data now. 91%. It is like incredible. It is an absolute no-brainer. Use that to help you succeed. Use that to drive your sales teams to hit their targets, to make sure you have the right people in the right roles, to empower your managers to be better coaches, hold their teams accountable, motivate their teams, across the board. I gotta go because I got a call in 2 minutes with a customer.
Well, okay. Well, let's wrap it up then.
Okay.
Guys, I hope that this was valuable. Thank you, Kristen, for your time. Thank you for your insights. Appreciate the conversation as always. Looking forward to our next conversation.
Yeah.
Everyone stay tuned. Thank you.
Next week, we'll be back.
Awesome.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to Q&A with D&K, produced by Moose and Lip Gloss.